What up, what up? It's your boy Marco from Upside Down Studios. It's motherfucking Monday. Here with my co-host from the dark tundras of the 51st state. Motherfucking Dino Genetic Marvel. Dino the Genetic Marvel.
I mean, I've been called Dino the Magnetic Sparkle. I've been called many of things. My computer is called the Magnetic Sparkle because I think that's hilarious.
Magnetic Sparkle.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, listen, hey, somebody has to. I'm sure there's a magnet in there somewhere, and it's sparkly. It's got all sorts of colors going through it. Monday. You know what? I hate that whole idea that there is a dominant attitude of it's like, oh, we got a case of the Mondays because Mondays suck. For a long time, I was like, no, you just have to fix your life. If you think Mondays are bad, you're doing something wrong. And I'll tell you right now, I fucking hate today, and I don't know why. I'm not sure what's happened, but at the same time, I'm just like, I don't feel like doing anything, and I'm just trying to push myself to do stuff that I need to get done.
Another manic Monday.
Right? Like, God, I don't know. You know what? And also, too, Mother Nature, why do you hate us so much? Why don't you just figure your own shit out and just do things normal? There's no reason for you to get cold again. Okay?
Yeah, well, the liberals will tell you it's climate change. Yeah, you're right. It is climate change. It changed from fucking summer yesterday to winter today.
Yeah. I love the idea that the same people, and I brought this up, I'm like, to another friend who lives in LA, and I was like, listen, I go, how is it that you the same people, fuck Mondays? Yeah, I mean, kind of, right? But it's like the idea that the same people who are like, everyone has to have an electric car, everyone has to use it, it's better the environment, are the same ones that are firebombing Teslas. And you're like, hey, do you understand the ramifications of burning a car like that? Like how bad it is for the environment? And they're like, yeah, but we don't like it. And I'm like, that just shows you have no character. You have no principles. You're just a pawn and a loser. You know, it's very also a Cybertruck is ugly as shit. I will admit that. It looks ugly. It's not a good car. But at the same time, you're like, man, just let people live their life. I don't give a shit.
I think honestly that the TISM got to Elon when he designed that car. Because those cars look like they look real similar to the 2 and 3 year olds cars, the toy cars. It was like, we're gonna make them so nobody can fuck them up. Instead of put them in a car wash.
So interestingly enough, a little while ago, there was a car that came out at a car show, and it was designed by women for women. And I'll tell you, if you look at the details of it, painful. It was designed so that it wouldn't need an oil change for up to like 30,000 kilometers. It only had, you couldn't pop the hood. It just had one thing that was like labeled clearly, like this is where gas goes. Another one is like this is where windshield washer fluid goes. Like it was very, very. If anything, it was rude. But you know what? I mean,
but hey, it was designed by women for women.
Just like the WNBA.
Throw out the grinder.
Bro, I find it hilarious that like, well, if you're not going to pay us, we're not going to do it. And you're like, all right, best of luck.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
I mean, it's the same thing as the Ukraine situation right now. We're not paying you anymore. We don't care.
Well, and they're like, well, then we won't be able to fight. Then you're going to lose. Best of luck.
We got them few stragglers that are fucking, fight with pro-Ukraine and this. Fuck you guys. I seen some idiot earlier, man. And usually I try to stay off because he's like a real mad liberal, and I know I'll blow his fucking mind. But, he wrote the most idiotic, or he reposted the most idiotic post I've seen. It was something about people. I'm tired of liberal being a bad thing, and it was liberals that did this for you. It was liberals that did that for you. It was liberals that did this. So I'll proudly be called a liberal. And so I sent him the quote that Malcolm X said about the white liberal.
What was
The
that?
worst thing. You know what? Let me pull it up because I don't want to fuck up. Malcolm, brother Malcolm's fucking thing there. Where's it at?
On white liberals. Let's see. He said,
Is it his whole quote? Read the whole quote. Come on, read it.
It's a long one. Okay. The white liberal is the worst enemy to America and the worst enemy to the black man. Let me first explain what I mean by this white liberal. In America, there's no such thing as Democrats and Republicans anymore. That's antiquated. In America, you have liberals and conservatives. This is what the American political structure boils down to among whites. The only people who are still living in the past and thinks in terms of I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican is the American Negro. And he's the one who runs around bragging about party affiliation, and he's the one who sticks to the Democrat or sticks to the Republican. But white people in America are divided into two groups, liberals and Republicans, or rather liberals and conservatives, which is the two parties that we have. They're not divided. Liberals and conservatives. And when you find white people vote in a political picture, they're not divided in terms of Democrats and Republicans. They're divided consistently as conservatives and as liberals. The Democrats who are conservative vote with Republicans who are conservative. Democrats who are liberals vote with Republicans who are liberals. You find this in Washington, D.C. Now, the white liberals aren't white people who are for independence, who are liberal, who are moral, who are ethical in their thinking. They are just a faction of white people who are jockeying for power, the same as the white conservatives are a fraction of white people who are jockeying for power. Now, they are fighting each other for booty, for power, for prestige, and the one who is the football in the game is the Negro. 20 million black people in the country are a political football, a political pawn, an economic football, an economic pawn, a social football, a social pawn. Jesus Christ. Bro, that's a lot. Are you frozen? Oh, you're frozen. Oh, I don't know what's happening right now. So apparently I read a quote from Malcolm X, and apparently that froze out Marco's computer. So I'm not sure what happened there. But yeah, so this is there are people just jockeying for power. That is, I feel like, one of the things that a lot of people don't realize. And that's a wild thing for us to talk about on Mondays. But hey, that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm just waiting for Marco to come back, because this is definitely a deep conversation that is what we're talking about. So let me just see if there are any other quotes on this, because I'll be honest, that in and of itself was quite aggressive. But I don't know if it's right or wrong. I just understand that it is something. Because after all is said and done, up here in Canada, we have liberals and conservatives, and in all honesty, right now, Canada's a mess. We have somebody in power who is absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion. But what do I know? I don't know anything. Now I'm just waiting for Marco so we can discuss this ridiculous quote, because it's. I feel like the idea that so many people are siding with parties that don't actually care about them, right? I think a lot of people are focused on, instead of what actually, not what actually happens, but what actually matters, what things that they stand for themselves aren't being included. I think Marco has some kind of agency after him. Serge, so interestingly enough, every time, like, there are a few certain buzzwords that every time they're said, Marco's internet goes down, and it's the wildest shit ever. Because I'll be honest with you, it's almost like I've asked him, I'm like, bro, did you have sex with someone's wife and they happen to work for the NSA, or whatever? But like it's the idea that they will actively go after him is wild. Hold on, let's see here. Maybe I have a message. No, bro, we must have said something fucked up and they shut us down. Jesus. That is crazy. I'm gonna tell him I am still alive. But yeah, so well, that quote in and of itself is that is real. That is from Malcolm X. But yeah, I really am wondering. This is, I feel like, the one thing that, well, you know what? It's Monday, so we're going to talk about it. The idea that he's trying to come back right now, everyone. So, but the idea is that in actuality, too many people get, I guess, not cornered, but funneled in to the idea of, if they don't stick with their party, they're not. The idea is they're not towing the cable, the party line, which I think is ridiculous. Because after all is said and done, we are people with opinions, thoughts, feelings, commitments, principles, ideas, and responsibilities. And the idea that so many people are told not to worry about that and just to toe the party line, to me, is ridiculous. Because if you can't say your opinion to those that you are in party with, then realistically, what do you have? Nothing. That's not real, right? You have to in turn be heard amongst your people, or your faction, organization, or whatever. But if your voice falls on deaf ears too often, ultimately you're going to abandon that, right? It's that same idea where a relationship, there's not enough communication, and it eventually just falls apart. Why? If you don't communicate, you're not going to grow together. You're not going to be able to function. But after all is said and done, I think a lot of people get hung up on the idea that they have to do something, when in actuality, it's just not real. It's not a thing. So what we were going to cover today, I guess we're going to wait for Marco to come back, is the idea that there are a bunch of quote unquote achievements that people are taking credit for that don't really exist, in my opinion, at least. So it's one of those things that, oh, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Let's see here. I'm just trying to pull up that thing because we're going to go through all of the details on it, because I think it's interesting. I think it's worthwhile discussing. That's for sure. The weird part is that I'm on this and I can't actually. So Serge, I'm sorry I can't pull up your comments because we're on Marco's stream, so I can't do anything here. But yeah, I definitely feel like Marco is being watched in some way, shape, or form. I'm not sure why. That's the thing, is because, and I think the biggest thing to realize is that our quote unquote free speech on a free platform, again, is something that's held in considerable restraint. Why? I don't know. But there's a definite fact that people aren't being allowed the freedom that we are so often praised for, or not necessarily praised for, but definitely the fact that we are limited in what we can and cannot say. And I don't understand why, right? It's that idea. It's like, well, you have freedom of speech, but you don't have freedom of consequences, which I wholeheartedly agree. And a lot of times when people are like, well, I didn't mean it that way, there is no freedom anymore. Yeah, Serge, in all honesty, I feel like the last source of freedom is our freedom of thought, which as well is slowly dissipating. I'll tell you, I there's been a couple times where I had thought of an old show or something that I wanted to that I remembered fondly, and I never Googled it. I never talked about it out loud, but I only thought it. And then within a couple of days, I saw it on my feed for either social media or hey, my friend.
My whole fucking internet down, dude.
Bro.
Dude, my whole router and everything fucking reset. You can't tell me that was a coincidence.
I don't want to repeat the quote.
No, not at all. Liberals bad, fuckwits. We'll leave it at that.
Not that. And you know what? I don't think that's the message is blindly following anyone is a failure of person.
Yeah.
There you go. And saying that because your party does something, you have to support it is a failure of character. Because I'll tell you one thing is here, okay? Especially the one thing that I love about, there's a lot of things I love about Marco, but one of the big things is the fact that he is reasonable if you show him proof, and he will hold those people their feet to the fire. In that, I don't care if you're a liberal, and I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you have conservative values, liberal values. I don't care what religion you are. If you're a piece of shit, I will call you a piece of shit. It's that simple. And the idea that people are like, well, you can't do that. Why? Are we not seeing people be pieces of shit? If you are a piece of shit, I will call you a piece of shit. Why? Because you're a piece of shit. Maybe you didn't know. Maybe it's news.
A lot of people, it is a revelation to them. But you should take that, you should take that home and be like, am I a piece of shit?
Oh, definitely.
I mean, take some self-accountability. Fuck.
I feel like I was talking about this with Victoria too, and we are saying how like I am so happy that you and myself and Cole have started to do things together, because the fact is that the three of us, while horribly mean to each other, are actually trying to be better people. We are trying to be good. And at the same time, we are all trying to not let out that absolutely shitty person that we know we can be. And I love the fact that
the universe has been testing a motherfucker. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, listen. And I love there's a few TikToks that it's mostly women that do it, but they're like, hey, leave my daughter alone because she can't fight, but I'll fuck you up. And you're going, I mean, listen. I there's been many a times where people are like, I don't know what to do. Just walk away. If someone pursues you, don't worry about it. That's their choice and their consequence to burden themselves with. But
that's it. Ugh. So
yeah.
Well, there was, I guess, we were talking about the weather and everything, but apparently the weather all across America is all kind of fucked up, and nobody's talking about it. And everybody's worried about, well, here, we'll start with this. What is up with this fuckwit judge that thought he was going to tell, I don't know how many airplanes mid-flight to make a U-turn? Who the fuck did these judges? And then now they're finding out that these judges are being paid off by senators, congressmen, and shit.
Yeah. Oh, one of the big things right now in Delaware. So, Delaware is a tax haven for many companies. They incorporate in Delaware for the preferential tax treatment that it offers them. And they have to have a physical office there, which as well offers value to Delaware. Why? Because then they are providing some sort of
service. Yeah.
Well, something. At least they're contributing something, right? Now, recently, Elon Musk was supposed to be paid $55 billion because if he hit certain markers, right? Which, let's be honest, we've all had jobs before. If you hit certain targets, you get certain bonuses at the end of the year. That's a normal way of doing. Now, a judge in Delaware has went on to be like, no, I don't think that's appropriate, and he blocked the payment. Okay.
Who is the payment coming from?
Elon's company.
So Elon was getting paid if he hit a certain marker. So basically, they're stopping him from getting money, his own money.
So this is the thing: is this has caused a mass exodus of corporations from Delaware, which is hey, that's Delaware's bread and butter. And now the Delaware government of whatever their state people are like, no, he has to get paid, and they're like, too late. So apparently Dropbox was one of the big ones. They've already left, and a significant amount of other companies, because this is the thing, is you offered us a tax haven where we could act and conduct our business in a legitimate sense without interference and with tax preferential treatment, as long as we were contributing back to the state itself to some degree. Okay, wonderful. You involved yourself in our business practices. Perfect. We out. And Delaware is now shitting its pants, which I love.
Now they might pull some fuckery like California did, because California did something similar.
Yes.
And nobody says anything about that. But fucking, there was a mass exodus of businesses going out of California because they kept raising the taxes and raising the regulations. Well, then California said, okay, you can move, but you still owe us taxes for the next 10, 20 years or some shit. Even if you move at whatever rate we decide to keep hiking it up at.
Yeah.
So basically, they're still paying. It's like they're paying to be there. So, I mean, Delaware can pull some fuck shit like that. And it's amazing. Just because this fucking man is he's helping. You know how much his services, what he's doing right now, would cost a regular fucking company? Like, it
well, listen. Oh, he got blocked again. Jesus. Oh my God. So apparently we're being somehow squashed. This is very peculiar. This is especially the fact that we're talking about legitimate activities and giving opinions on. This is really messed up, right? Serge, I like this is, you know what? It hasn't been this aggressive since oh, Erica, you're back?
Yeah, this is fucking ridiculous. I'm about to I turn my Wi-Fi on. This way, if it goes out again, it'll go to my phone. Like, maybe I never said that, but fuck.
Don't let them know what your next move is, people. You gotta keep them on their toes.
Never.
The wild thing is, we're not saying anything negative here.
No,
we've only said factual, and maybe we should put up the alleged ban, just allegedly.
Yeah,
just so we're just talking with for information and entertainment purposes. Okay, just everybody calm down. This isn't the news, mind you. I would like to be like, can you imagine the power of someone like, my name is Dan Rather. You're like, back in the day, what like real news people had, like, I'm Walter Cronkite. You're like, this guy's gonna tell me what's going on, no problem.
Yeah.
Now there's no one like that anymore. And I think that is one of the biggest failures of media up in like over the last 25 years, that it's just entertainment. It's not real news.
Dude, they even called CNN, when they called them out, there was it was a lawsuit or some shit. And they said, this is not real news. This is news entertainment. They called it fucking news entertainment, dude.
Yeah.
But yet everybody clings on to CNN like it was back in the fucking 80s when they had real news on there.
It's one of those things where, I mean, even Serge is like, stop fucking with Marco. Like, hey, of all the things, of all the fish to fry, he's not it. Just like, no offense, but it's like, bro, there are bigger problems to handle, and his voice, my voice, not even on the top 100 of issues. Just
no, not even close. 99 problems, and our shows ain't one of them.
I mean, like,
now I don't even know what the fuck to talk about. We recap the fucking weekend? I mean, fuck.
Okay, you know what? Why don't we try one more things? Let's talk about the Panama Canal. So you know what? I'm gonna pull up the history on Wikipedia of the Panama Canal. How about that? We're gonna do that. That should be totally fair. The Panama Canal. Okay, on Wikipedia. We're just gonna, it's very simple, everyone. We're not giving an opinion, nothing. Okay, so I'm going down to the history. Hold on, somebody just messaged me here. Who's with? Okay, deal with that later. That's fine. Okay, so French construction, 1881 to 1899. Let's go a little further. United States acquisition. Okay, so in 1897 to 1899, U.S. President William McKinley tasked two commissions headed by Admiral John Grimes Walker to recommend the best route for a canal across Central America. Although the first commission had been tasked only to consider routes across Nicaragua, William Nelson Cromwell successfully lobbied the government to broaden the terms to reference to also consider the Panamanian Isthmus. Okay.
Now here I think is the catch in the whole deal, though, and this is where I think the wordplay is going to come in on, what Trump says as opposed to what we're being told and the new information that come to light. I'm not even going to mention the names. Just a big fucking one of the biggest corporations in the world has now bought the ends. See, that's one thing I caught in there. They bought the ends of the canal,
not the middle.
They didn't buy the middle. So they bought the entrance and the exit of the Panama Canal from China.
Yeah.
So technically, they're right. The canal is still Panama, but this and that.
Sure.
The doors on the bitch aren't.
So, do you know that when you cross the Panama Canal, that you have to actually relinquish the captain chair, whatever, the authority as captain of your ship to a Panamanian captain? No exceptions. No exceptions. So you have to, here you go, and he's gonna drive it. And the wild thing is that for that time going through, remember, they were saying
liable for that, aren't you?
It's part of the contract.
As part of it, like as being captain of that vessel, you're still liable for if anything fucks up.
Well, it's like lending somebody your car.
Yeah, you're still liable for that shit.
Well, you can go to court for it, but ultimately you're gonna have to. You aren't gonna come away unscathed. That's just simply put. Did you freeze again? Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm gonna read this out while Marco's coming back. So, the proposal to purchase the French rights to Panama faced considerable opposition in Congress, since the Nicaraguan proposal was referred by many. Oh, you're back.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back, I think.
All right.
For now. See, this is
It's tapping my ass. That's what it's doing.
Maybe. And truth be told, his ass is chapped enough. He doesn't need extra help. It's
bullshit right here, man.
So U.S. control and handover. So by the 1930s, water supply became an issue for the canal, prompting construction. After there, so in 2015, Hutchison Wumpa merged with Chung Kong and renamed C.K. Hutchison Holdings. That's who's sold it. And
C.K. Hutchison Holdings, although it sounds like a very white name, that's like the 100% beef company.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So let's see here. Yeah. So on March 5th, the American investment. Yeah. Okay. So hold on. Let's go on the 24th of December, 2024. A protest was held in the U.S. Embassy in Panama City over Trump's threat to take back the Panama Canal. Protests referred to him as a public enemy of Panama. On the same day, the Bolivarian Alliance for the People of Our America, made up 10 Central and South American countries, denounced Trump's comments and affirmed its support for Panama's sovereignty, territory, integrity, and self-determination. In a press conference on January 7th, 2025, Trump vowed to gain control of the Panama Canal. He refused to rule out economic and military action against Panama to seize control of the canal to secure what he called U.S. economic security. On the 5th of February, the United States Department of State posted on Twitter that the Panama Canal would no longer be charging United States government vessels to cross. President Molino called this an intolerable falsehood, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who had departed Panama a few days earlier, had to correct the announcement, saying he expects Panama to begin doing so in return for the Trujillo's cartel treaties guaranteed of U.S. military protection in the event of an attack on the canal. On March 5th, the American investment company BlackRock announced that the consortium, including, this is all from Wikipedia. Jesus, now he's gone. Let me see here. I'm subscribed and never see Marcus. No, neither, yeah, I know. Me too. So BlackRock announced that the consortium, including also Global Infrastructure Partners and Terminal Investment Limit, would buy CK Hutchison. There we go. You're back. 80% holding, which owns the ports at either end of the canal. According to the New York Times, the Hong Kong-based Lee family felt under political pressure to exit the port's business. Discussions with BlackRock about the Panama Canal had begun only a few weeks prior, coinciding with the beginning of the Trump administration. Only reason I'm here is because of Dino's. Thanks. There you go. Yeah. Hey, even Serge just said, I'm subscribed to your channel. Never get notification. Never.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah. The only it's the wildest thing that you're like, of all things, like I wonder what it is, because I just want to know. Because listen, I don't have a problem. Like, I've been working on trying not to swear. I'm failing horribly, but to make my channel better, right? And that's why, because I'm monetized and I want to make sure that, you know, it works. But at the same time, it's like, you gotta, like, what is happening here that this would like people would do this? But regardless,
this is the first time in a long time it's been this bad, dude. I mean, the weather it ain't storming out here. It ain't like, you know, there's no significant reason why my internet should be fucking die, especially when it's this laptop that I'm broadcasting on and not the one that's literally right next to, like, the screens are touching each other. The one that I pull up shit on. That is fine. The internet not once out of this whole time has that glitch, shut down, or anything.
Yeah. It's very weird. It's very weird. And I'm surprised that it's so drastically held, because this doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, like,
feel like there's somebody, you know, whoever monitors these things, because we all know they do.
Yeah. Bro, again? Jesus. Like, the only time that I've heard of anything this dramatic was a friend who signed on to a new telephone provider, and they found out that their house literally was on the line of between two towers. So, like, they literally, like, their house was just a dead zone, and they're like, all right, we got to go back to our previous provider, like, just because that's just, you know, the science. But, like, there's no reason why you should be this flagged. Very weird.
Dude, I'm all fuckered up now.
Yeah, well,
you're stuck holding your hands like this. I can see me moving, but I can't see you moving now,
bro. That is. This is so confusing.
I think they're like, oh, you want to talk shit? We'll get your side too.
I mean, that is aggressive.
Motherfucker.
I'm gone. You can't see me at all?
All right. So apparently We're not supposed to be having this show. Look, they got you this time.
Bro, this is so messed up. Serge, let me know if you can see me or if you can only see Marco because I can't. For me, I'm still on here. I don't know what's happening.
Dude, yeah, you froze up. Like, you froze up with your hands up like this. And I heard your voice for a minute, then you were gone.
That's so weird. This is really peculiar.
Yeah, and you wouldn't think you hear all these stories about, you don't believe it until it fucking happens.
Bro, okay, so Serge says everything is good here. Okay, so I this is the thing, is how is it possible I can see both of you, but I'm watching on Facebook? Thank you, Patty. I appreciate you telling us. It's like, why? We're not that important in the grand scheme of things, bro. We're just not that important. Like I like to think I'm important, but I'm not.
Dude, I mean, I notice it's just certain subjects.
Oh, Jesus, I don't understand. Like, we both have good internet. I know Patty Daly says hello. Hi, Patty. Nice to meet you. I'm Dino. I'm Marco's friend. Every once in a while, I come to Ohio. We have a good time. So much fun. I don't understand why it would get shut down. Patty Daly says hello, Marco. She's in the comments.
Hi, Patty.
I don't like, bro. When you were gone, I even said it, and I'm like, I've asked you multiple times. I'm like, did you bang someone's wife that they hate you? Like, it's got to be like, how, like, the amount of persecution is wild.
Yeah.
Because
people love to talk about their peoples being persecuted. Yeah, I feel it, motherfuckers. I feel it.
So YouTube does use bots to swap channels. It does, but it's like the weird part is, and this is where like we've had issues in the past where I'm like, I don't broadcast on my channel for the simple fact that I'm like, I'm already monetized. I'm trying to keep that going, but at the same time, we're not saying anything wrong here. Like, it's more so that I just don't want whatever voodoo someone has put on you, sir. I'm like, no, thank you. I'm married. I don't need extra voodoo. I got all the voodoo I need at home. Thank you very much.
Got that Asian voodoo.
I got Asian voodoo here. It's fine. It's
I want to know what the fuck was wrong with saying Happy fucking St. Patrick's Day.
Also, yeah, it's so. Back in the day, I used to go out for St. Patty's Day all the time, and I'm like, yeah, it's just a good excuse. But now I'm just like, I don't want to have to deal with people. Nope.
I just got another van. I ain't trying to. There's going to be mad drunks out. I mean,
right?
Even though there was just, they kind of did it over the weekend. Nah, there's going to be today's St. Patrick's Day. The diehard folks don't give a fuck about the weekend. That was just pregame.
Yeah.
Today, I mean, there were people already on Facebook this morning. Where's the bar crawl starting? What time? Bitch, it's 8:00. Like,
right?
Like,
it's a little bit much.
Yeah, the steak and egg or cakes and eggs or some shit like that. Who drinks beer with eggs?
I mean, what? I'd have a Guinness with any meal. That's good.
Guinness.
You don't like Guinness?
No.
You know what? Hey, you know what we got to do is I'll come down and we'll do Irish car bombs, because Irish car bombs, I'm telling you, are number one because you do it fast, right? So it's only a little bit of Guinness and a shot of Bailey's with a little bit of Jameson on top. You drop it and pound it. And for me, it tastes like chocolate milk. But I did it. So it was my birthday, and Victoria had some of her friends in the UK because we were there. They're like, Dino wants to go out. It's his birthday. And he's like, no problem. I'll set up my friends. We'll go out. So I did. I was like, do you guys have Guinness? They're like, yeah. I'm like, shots of Bailey's. And I set up a bunch of them. I'm like, drop it and pound it. And everyone looked and was like, absolutely the fuck not. I'm like, it's an Irish car bomb. It's delicious. One guy did it. He's like, that's disgusting. And I'm like, bro, it tastes like chocolate milk. It does not taste like chocolate milk. You drink bad chocolate milk. I'm like, it's not. It's good.
Now, White Russians fucking taste like chocolate milk. And a good White Russian with a little bit of coffee liqueur in it.
This is the thing is, I always like a good drink, and especially if it's not super sweet. perfect, but a little bit of sweetness. It adds a. I don't like when it's super bitter and people are like, it's delicious. I'm like, no, it tastes like anus. I'm like, no, thank you.
Dude, I'm taking like people that I will not drink any more Dago Red. You know what Dago Red means?
No.
Shithole fucking wine that you made in your toilet. That's what the fuck Dago Red means. Every fucking. I mean, my grandma's half was pure, Sicilian. They're and my ex, all her family, supposedly all these deep-rooted Italians. Mother, each and every person's fucking Dago Red that I've tasted since I was a kid tasted like Jesus wouldn't even have it for communion. It's fucking nasty. It's fucking dried, bitter, purple fucking dirt dishwasher fucking toilet. Pruno, I'm tasting fucking jail flying. It has some taste.
This is the one thing where I've had so many Italian people be like, oh, our recipe for sauce is generational. It's the best. And I'm like, oh yeah. Hey, and I'll happily be like, cool, let me try it. I'll try it and be like, why does it still taste like tomatoes? That's not sauce. You made jam. That's not the same thing.
One of the greatest moments I give to my mother. Like, cause my mom, you think I'm petty? My mom is fucking petty. Petty. So
gotta learn it from somewhere.
Like I said, my ex's family, that they pride themselves on their sauce too. Now mind you, I watched them make their noodles, fucking handmade, just like the old school. I don't know what the fuck kind of dick they put in their sauce, but I had my ex's dad, or I invited her parents over for his birthday. And I had my mom come over and cook spaghetti the Puerto Rican way. That man ate 3 big ass plates of spaghetti. You saw my old lady's fucking mom's face, just bitter, dude. Fucking bitter. Oh my god. Because my mom's Puerto Rican and Italian, but she looks like raw chicken, so she looks like a white lady. So,
perfect.
Oh, that was one of the greatest moments. Like, mom, good looking out. That was.
Hey, you know what the funny thing is? So even so when my father-in-law passed away, obviously my family was like, hey, do you need food? And I'm like, I would greatly appreciate that. And my mom was like, what do you want me to make? And I'm like, can you make this dish? And she's like, that's so much work. And I'm like, okay, you can make something else. She's like, no, I'll make it for you, no problem. And I'm like, okay. And so I drove across the city. Okay, so we're talking about for me to go from my house to my my mom's house is, if there's traffic, probably about an hour and a half. If there's no traffic, it's still like an hour. Okay.
Shit.
Yeah, just because it's right through the center. Like the best way to go is right through the middle of the city. Sucks, right?
Straight line.
Yeah. So I went, and they were like, so the thing was they weren't allowed to eat beef because in my father-in-law's culture beef was more of like, it was respect because a cow works. A cow should be classed as a working man as well. So out of respect, we weren't allowed to have beef for a period of time. I'm like, that's fine. Huh? No.
They weren't Hindu? Like that?
No. No. Chinese. Yeah. So
well, close enough.
But regardless, I brought it here, and I brought a big canister, like a big pan, big pan of it, and everyone had some. And my wife's aunts, who had come from Hong Kong, were like, "That's a meal," and I'm like, "Bro, there was no meat in it." She's like, it's just vegetables, because it was Gimme Sty is like stuffed peppers and tomatoes and eggplant and all sorts of stuff. And my mom, like, you scoop it all out, you mix all that together with the rice, you cook the rice, you put it back in, you put some potatoes, and you cook it in the oven. It takes it's a lot of work, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, my grandma used to make stuffed peppers, and it was the same thing, but only she had meat inside. But that actually sounds really fucking good.
So, bro, I brought it to the house, and everyone was like, "Your mom knows how to cook." I'm like, Thank you. I'm like,
it's witchcraft.
100% witchcraft, bro. My mom is from a town that is known for witchcraft. I'm like, yeah, my mom is. That's fine. She knows what she's doing. That's one of those things where you're like, listen, if you want to show up, good food. Not, I would say 100 times out of 100, 100 times out of 100, that will change everything.
We'll see. Now the problem with my mom's cooking over the past few years, she started going to these dietitians and this doctor and that doctor. Took all that. The worst thing for a fucking holiday meal is a fucking doctor or a dietitian. Will take the flavor out of every fucking thing. But you know what? I still will eat that shit before I go back and eat at my old lady's family's house again. Ray, if you're listening, you my girl, you know that, but I just can't do another meal of that fucking. I mean, it looked presentable, and there was a lot of food there. I mean, it was a. If it tasted good, that was a meal for a fucking king.
Yeah.
But the key phrase there is if it tasted good. Like
nothing.
Hey. Goddamn, but and I was polite. I nibbled on a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not going to be rude, but I don't need to suffer twice. Like,
no.
So, and Serge, you know what? My mom makes cabbage rolls, and each one looks like probably about like 4.5 inches in length, but also like it looks like a short burrito. So it's like thick and packed.
So what are you talking about? Stuffed cabbage?
Yeah, but she makes them big.
My mom makes them. I don't know, they're kind of the size of a potato.
Depends. Potatoes comes in all sorts of like how big, like a potato, like a baked potato, like that size.
Yeah.
So yeah, right, like that size. You're like, bro, because you can have 2 of those. You're good.
You're good. You're fucking good. Especially if it has a good sauce over it. The next. Oh, see, you gotta look. Me and my mom don't really talk. Now I'm gonna have to call my mom. Look.
Hey, you know what? The last few times that we've been going, like we would go for lunch or something to my mom's place, or even when we went to visit her in Florida. Like I tell Victoria, I'm like, hey, with my mom's cooking, I might get that recipe, and she'll write it down. And she'll be like, okay.
See, that's a fucking bad thing. Like my grandma. There are books and books. My grandma used to sit every fucking morning, listen to some church music, and then throw on like some news network and just write recipes. There are fucking notebooks, stacks of recipes. Bro. Now you try to get a recipe from my mama. Oh, well, you throw this in there and you throw this in there and then you mush it up with the pilon and then you get the sofrito and you add. First of all, speak the language. What the fuck did you just say to me? I'm still cutting onions over here. Bitch, you got a little witch's cauldron that you're smushing shit in. I mean, like, if you see, even to this day, my mom still has the medieval tools. Yeah. She has the fucking mace. She has the fucking the cauldron with the little, look like a dildo that you smush the fucking herbs and shit with.
Yeah, mortar and pestle for everyone thinking. It's a mortar and pestle.
And look, I bought my mom, you know what those were used for back in the day? Cocaine. That's what I knew they was used for. And then my mom has one. Mom, what the fuck is this?
They're used for spices, but yeah, I mean, it's booger sugars and lots of spice.
My mom has one. I don't know if it was I think it was my grandma's, and it might have been her mom's or whatever, an old wooden one. Mm-hmm. And the one that I got my mom a fucking marble. I went to the dope store, got my mom a nice marble one and all that shit. She refused to use it. Because there's still flavor in the wood of the fucking. That's witchcraft. That's fucking witchcraft.
So my mom has one, has an old wooden one, and the handle for all the times is actually bent.
See, that's why my mom's ain't bent. It looks like a little midget's leg. It's kind of gnarled on the end. It's fat on one side, and then it got a few bumps on it. It's like got her hand grip in the wood.
Yeah. But that's like, this is, so there's a dessert. I think we might have had it when we went to that Greek thing when I was down. They're called melomakarona, right? They're brown. They have walnuts on them. I think we had them.
I think so. It sounds familiar. Yeah.
So the funny thing is that in melomakarona, there is no binder. So the only way that they stick together is if you squeeze it, mold it, and bake it. Hilariously, if you go to Greece, if you see some that are a little loose, they'll be like, oh, that's from a young wife. That's not a grandma's done. And you're like, why? She doesn't have that iron grip, bro. And you're like, that's the funniest shit I've ever heard because
I mean, it ain't wrong.
It ain't wrong.
I mean, it's like when I tried to tell Cole about the cake. You know, it sounds fucked up, but then and my grandma, my aunts, my mom, every time you cook, you pull the fucking straw out of the broom, and you don't use it. Like I said, you don't use the dirty end. You pluck it in there, and if there's any of the cake residue on the stick, it's not ready yet.
That's
it was years. Fuck, I was out the house and dating a white girl when I found out that they had little metal things that you stuck in there.
Yeah. That's the wild part is that you're like, yeah, there's all sorts of little tricks of the trade that you learn over time, and you learn over necessity, right?
So I found out about the Kool-Aid chicken and pork chop.
I mean, hey, yeah, you just can't use.
Wait a second. And fuck you, algorithm, for fucking. We had this fucking bullshit. This was supposed to be recapping the news, fuckers.
Yeah.
All right. So you were cooking what?
No. It's that whole thing about you can use Kool-Aid, you just can't use purple or red because it just turns horrible.
Terrible.
Isn't that crazy though? I don't know.
I mean, it's different color packets of. Well, I can't even say sugar because you ever tried like that was a weird thing when I was growing up, and this is not a racist thing. It's just what I witnessed when I was growing up. All the black kids would get the packs of Kool-Aid and stick their finger in it and just dip like a dipping stick.
Nope.
You know how fucking nasty Kool-Aid powder is without sugar.
Yeah.
Fucking gross. Now, I have added sugar to my little Kool-Aid pack and walked around with the rest of the black kids eating it out of there, but nobody knew I had sugar in that bitch. Mine was just better.
This is okay. I just had to Google it. So the typical contents of the powder is sugar, fructose, citrus acid, artificial flavors, calcium phosphate, artificial flavors like red 40 and blue 1. Bro, that's biological warfare.
Yeah. And
they
set it free on the minority community because you always notice the white kids on the commercial drank Sunny D. We got fruit juice. We got the purple.
Every time. And this is the one thing that like I remember growing up. We convinced my mom to buy Sunny D like twice, and you're like, it's not juice. It's just sugar water. It's sugar water with a little bit of orange in it. That's it.
Sunny D to me tasted just like Thack orange juice. It's like if you let the orange juice sit out for a few like a while. It was just.
I remember we went long time ago. Jesus, it must have been early 90s. We went to Costa Rica, and it was weird. So like the beach wasn't like a really deep. The water wasn't very deep, but it was very far before it went down. But the waves were like 6-7 feet tall waves. Like they were big waves, right? And to the point where we were there, and there was a German family where the son and the dad were like 6'6", if not taller, and one of them almost drowned because the waves he got knocked off his feet, and then he just kept on hitting him. So the dad had to go out and help him out. Like it was a crazy thing. But one of the crazy things was across the street from the resort was a guy selling fresh orange juice, and the fresh orange juice, like you had to look. By the end of a week, I had figured out which color was sweet and which color was less sweet, because I was like 11 or like 10. So I'm like, I want the sweet one. And like, but the colors would be different because he was collecting oranges and making juice. And you're like, that's the thing is you don't realize that not all oranges are the same. Some are sour, some are bitter. Like there's a whole thing. And especially if you don't clean it properly before you juice it, as well, you're gonna eat a lot of pith, and that's a little bitter taste and stuff like that. But like people don't realize, you're like, yeah, that's why Sunny D, when anything has a uniform color across the board, you're like, that's not real food.
If you ain't gotta shake it,
if it's got a uniform color, it's been dyed, and dye is not good for you.
No, not at all. It's made out of bugs most of the time.
Hey man, there's a reason why they keep on trying. Like the wild thing is, like our Fruit Loops are flavored and colored with natural colors, like with fruits and like other stuff. Whereas yours still use
There's all
yellow.
kinds of shit. Yeah, there's all
It's
kinds of shit in
red
there.
40, yellow 5, blue 1, like all sorts of where you're going. The whole world is like, yeah, those are bad for you. Don't use those. And they're like, nah, we're gonna keep using them. You're like, it's a little
See,
bit
I
messed up.
was watching a show the other night, something similar. Like they showed meals from the '80s that are now illegal,
Yeah,
like because they have certain shit in them. There was one thing that kind of got to me. It's shark fin soup.
it's delicious, bro. It's so good. Hey, so I'll tell you right now is that it's illegal up here, right?
Yes,
You
it's
can't
illegal
have it.
everywhere now.
You can still get it, but
Oh yeah, the Asians
yeah,
serve it up.
I'll tell you this much. So once it was for, I don't know if it was an anniversary or Chinese New Year. I forget which one, but we went to a really fancy restaurant and the meal, the shark fin soup that was served, so normally it'll be a big pot and they come and they'll serve a bunch of bowls and everyone gets a bowl. This one had individual, and it looked like it had like dragons holding up the cauldron kind of thing, and that's what they served. And at the bottom of the soup was a steamed egg as well. And when you ate it, you're like, bro, it was so good that I
So
was like, bro, this is the best thing I've ever had.
so as soon as we started off in this, my whole shit froze up. Right, I didn't come back until the egg.
Guy.
I'm just telling y'all what I saw, fuckers.
Yeah. I ate it. It was delicious.
And I'm saying it was bad. Jesus.
The worst part is that I think the madness was that they were catching sharks, cutting off the fin, and then throwing the shark back, which you're like, it's a death sentence. Whereas when it comes, he froze again. Jesus. Okay, it's on me. I'm not talking about shark fin soup anymore. I swear to God. Okay, we're not. I'm just going to talk about cabbage rolls or Greek food or barbecue. How about that? Is that passable? I don't understand why this is. You back? Okay.
Yeah, I'm fucking back.
All right. So don't talk about that soup.
Yeah, I guess. So, anyways, I've been watching a lot of that kind of the cooking shows to throw Cole some ideas.
Yeah.
There's a lot of a lot of meals that were from back in the '80s that people don't eat anymore. Non-illegal ones like legal meals. Like there was one about I think the spam. They talked about like everybody. Oh, that and sardines. Like people just used to eat. Like I've seen my mama and my dad do it, and I thought it was gross as shit. But people just used to eat sardines. Like they talked about it was in lunch boxes and shit like that. Like who the fuck? You know that kid got beat up in school. The kid who was eating sardines at lunch just out the fucking camp.
Like I find it odd that people don't realize you're like, yeah, your palate matures well into your 20s. And even like for me, with all the fasting and though, my palate's changed. Like I like certain foods that I didn't like before. I like bitter stuff every so often. Like it's weird. But who knew? It's kind of out of control. Patty says I used to eat them when I was little. Did you get made fun of, Patty? We need to know. Because even my parents are like, oh, my Victoria likes sardines, and I'm like,
for a woman, it's not good to be fishy up top and the bottom.
That won't get you banned though. But talking about soup,
I can say that shit. The fuck?
I like. You know what the worst part is if we have a show on censorship, dead immediately. Immediately, we're getting shut down. I'll never understand.
Fucking crazy.
Like, bro, pick a lane. Like, do you remember when we would get stopped for talking around HRC? Sure.
Yeah. Now it's fucking
anything
soup and St. Patrick's Day.
Apparently those are Topics not for public consumption. Who knew?
Oh, since it's the end of the fucking show, we got to do a whole 15 minutes of. Go check out your goddamn news. Some fuck shit's been going on with the weather. Some fuck shit's been going on with the Asians, or not the Asians, the Sand people. Also, we took out, nobody's talking about, we took out one of the heads of the Sand people down there.
Yeah.
And you know, oh, and eggs did come down, fuck faces, 3 times.
Did they?
So, but on the other hand, we're also asking Denmark, who's thoroughly pissed off at us, for eggs too. So
let me see here. I want to see egg US data. There's actually a website on it.
Well, hurry the fuck up before this gets taken down.
Egg prices are down. As of March 18th, they are, it's actually pretty good. They maxed out March 4th, and now they're coming down. How dare you? How dare you, sir? Like,
do we got a quote for fucking tonight?
Yes, possibly. Well, it's not going to be that Malcolm X quote. I'll tell you that.
Fuck no. And you know what? That must have been something he wrote in a book, because the quote that I read was a lot shorter. I mean, it was long, but it was a lot shorter. It didn't go into all them details. It just look it up. Just what Malcolm X thought of the white liberal. Look it up.
Apparently, the devil is in the details. Who knew? So I actually have 3 that I pulled up. So I was looking for quotes around the truth and yourself. Okay. So here, we could choose which one of these. So the first one is William Faulkner. He says, "Never be afraid to raise your voice for honesty and truth and compassion against injustice and lying and greed. If people all over the world would do this, it would change the earth." Okay, that's number 1, which is a little bit wordy, a little much. Then Franz Kafka is, "Don't bend, don't water it down, don't try and make it logical. Don't edit your own soul according to the fashion. Rather, follow your most intense obsession mercilessly." Also fair. But the most succinct one, and I like this one because it's really accurate for the times, is, "Truth never damages a cause that is just." And it is from Mahatma Gandhi. What do you think?
I feel like you could sum all 3 up into a famous, I think it's Reba McEntire quote: "To thine own self be true."
I believe that's in the Bible, but yeah.
It was in the song Fancy.
That's fine. You know what? I'm gonna look that up, and that, you know what, we'll do that. To thine own self be true.
Don't let me down.
To thine own self be true. Is originally it's from Shakespeare.
There
you go.
There you go.
Perfect. All right, that is gonna be the topic for tonight. To thine own self be true.
Yep, this has been a what the fuck motherfucking Monday. That's what the fuck this has been. Fuck you, algorithms. Fucking go after somebody who's actually doing some fucking shit. God damn it. If you gonna censor me, at least bring my old guy back. Me and Al had a fucking, an understanding. Cunts. I'm up.
Peace out. Jesus.